That's my 2 cents. All right. I believe TJ was on the play. Fetching on Jonathan's end step right now, I'm pretty sure. Our Clays, I don't know what that means. Need to Google something real quick. All right, fetches a Rogren Triumph. Plays a Breeding Pool. Renin 6? Slamming it? 1-up counterspell? Yep, just passing. Jonathan, looks like we're gonna get some action because he's just fetching in main phase here, I'm pretty sure. Basic Island. Dash Ragavan attack. Counterspell. Go to TJ's turn. TJ is on the more control-y version, not running Risen Reef and running Express Iteration, Counterspell. This version did really well at our Invitational. Got second place overall and just crushed it in the Swiss and stuff. Alright, deciding on this iteration pile. Let me start the round timer. Oh, it started. Something to hand there, I kind of missed it. Might have been a Solitude. Ice Fang to Exile. Ice Fang is not going to get cast. Basic Island. Go to Jonathan's turn. Basic Island number 2. Pass. I have to assume that represents counter magic. Probably doesn't really not want to get a Teferi resolved on him right now. Possibly risky going for that Dash Ragavan, but I mean, you got to do something. But just because that could have meant untap on turn 3 and play Baby Teferi, but... Alright, instep Eladamri's Call gets an Omnath. This card is kind of a late addition to these 4-color piles. I feel like kind of developed late. You know, for a while they weren't playing this. But very sick card. Just lets you, add so much consistency to an 80 card pile. Just allowing you to search up Omnath every game, get that Solitude in a clutch moment, get a Fury when your opponent, played right into one, and get a Magus of the Moon as we saw last round. Actually, I don't know if he played Eladamri's Call to get the Magus or just had Magus, but still allows you to tutor up Magus when it, works really well against your Tron or Amulet opponent, which is 2 of the deck's worst matchups. Yeah, got to be aggressive with Murktide in this matchup. I feel like you don't go late super well, but it looks like Jonathan's sitting on some counter magic, so maybe wanting to play a little more passive with his hand and just try to stick a big Murktide later and protect it. TJ just flashing in an aggressive Solitude here, no target. Jonathan might just take care of it with an Unholy Heat. He does. I think TJ is fine with that. Both players still sitting on a grip of cards. How good is Murktide? Murktide's really good. All right, Omnath. Ooh, I see a dress down. That's pretty gross. Uh, wait. Okay, I think he's okay. I think he said counterspell and then revealed dress down. I was really confused what just happened. Definitely done that before. I think you went counterspell it, and then TJ just put it in the grave, and then he showed a dress down. I was like, that's the wrong card. I was about to go be like, TJ, that doesn't die. It just enters. It doesn't draw cards. All right, that's gonna eat a counterspell too. Like, yeah, like I mentioned, Jonathan just sitting on a grip of counter magic and a dress down. Can't let that baby fairy resolve. I think he's got 2 dress downs in hand now. Might be time to slam that Murktide. Jonathan not doing anything yet. Pass to TJ, TJ pass back to Jonathan. Jonathan opting to hold that Odawara in hand and just pass the turn again. This is a very interesting how this match is played out. I feel like these matches don't normally play like this. Kind of just unique draws from both players, I think. All right, Jonathan gonna get proactive with the Ledger Shredder. It resolves. TJ fires off a Solitude. And Jonathan lets it go. Nope. Ooh, thinking about cycling. Okay, fires off Bolt. Wants to get a Connive trigger real quick. And deal a little bit of damage. Oh, okay, no. He bolts the Solitude. Makes a lot of sense. Solitude would gain back any life that the Bolt would deal anyways, so might as well get rid of it. Gets to draw and discard off that Connive. TJ just fetching on instep here, untap. Are we gonna see the Omnath get slammed? And if we do, I wonder if Jonathan just answers with a dress down or if he has another counter here. Looks like it's a dress down. Random question, are there a lot of ETB effects in Pioneer? I would say no. Red-black sack doesn't really have any, or red-black sack does. Red-black mid-range does not. Blue-white control doesn't. Phoenix doesn't. Mono green has some, for sure. Like Cavalier is a big one. But overall, the deck doesn't really rely on it. All right, Jonathan, now slamming the Murktide. I feel like this is a strategy a lot of good Murktide players try to do, is just really like hold out on the Murktide until you know it's gonna stick and it's gonna be difficult to remove. You know, try to slog through your opponent's removal first and then jam that Murktide. Ooh, Jonathan just drew a Spell Pierce too. And Hold of Protection, which he technically didn't have any protection for this Murktide, but I think he has another one in hand. And he did just draw Spell Pierce, so he has some form of protection here. All right, another Eternal Witness from TJ. Gonna get. I'm assuming he got back Solitude and then just evoked it. Um, and you can't spell Pierce Solitude as much as I want to. Gonna gain 8 life to, yeah, 28. So I believe Jonathan has second Murktide, or I could have been wrong. I think that's second Murktide in his hand right there. Choppy, if you're going to an event and you have mill, but you're thinking about taking Murktide, and your thought is everyone's going to be prepared for Murktide, even if everyone's prepared for Murktide, it's still head and shoulders better than mill. So it's just not even. I don't think it's even a question. If you're like really trying to play to win this event, I don't think it's a question. I fully understand the like, I don't want to play the deck everyone's prepared for, but something as bad as mill versus something as good as Murktide, even if people are prepared for it, it's got to be Murktide. Sorry if I just body slam mill and you're a mill player. My condolences. All right. Jonathan fires off consider, likes it. Gonna keep it on top. I think it was just another consider. Puts that one in the yard. It was another land. Unholy Heat in hand. This is the other thing about these 4-color decks. It feels so bad to just like Unholy Heat and Eternal Witness, or Unholy Heat and Ice Fang Quaddle and stuff like that. It feels okay to Unholy Heat and Omnath, but even then you're still losing on cards. All right. Cast another big Murktide here. Now Jonathan might have even more protection up this time. I think he still has a Spell Pierce. Ooh, TJ with a Dress Down. That's going to make the Murktide enter with no counters if it resolves. But Jonathan has the Spell Pierce for it. So Murktide enters with 5 counters. That's an 8/8. All right, see if TJ has a way to deal with Murktide and if Jonathan has protection for it. I see a couple of Furies, Prismatic Ending, and maybe 2 lands, so not really ways to deal with it for TJ. It is part of the casting cost, but it'll enter and it won't have any ability, so it won't get the ability that it enters with the counter. So it's the same thing with like Walking Ballista or whatever. Like it enters with no counters and it just dies. The Walking Ballista dies. But Murktide would enter and it won't have the ability that it gets counters for however many cards were exiled, however many instants and sorceries were exiled with it. So it just won't get the counters. As I understand it. So if I'm wrong, correct me. Yep, it's a blank. It's a blank 3/3. If there's a dress down out. All right, TJ taking this turn to flicker the or play the Yorion. Sorry, I missed missing it. So TJ played Yorion, I think, and went back to Jonathan's turn. Oh, did Jonathan dress down the Yorion? My bad, guys. I was trying to look up that thing about Murktide. I think Jonathan dressed down that Yorion, if I'm not mistaken, which is a huge deal because that Eternal Witness could have got back Solitude again. And TJ's all the way down to 7 after the attack from Murktide. Jonathan firing off a bolt at you. And TJ... Oh, sorry. Bolt. I think Bolt was at Quaddle to clear the way for Murktide. TJ's dead. So game 1 going to Jonathan. Real quick for everyone in chat, if you want to follow us on our socials, you can keep up with our announcements. We're going to be announcing Season 2 of the Apex Gaming Invitational Series at some point here, so you're going to want to follow us on our socials to see that when the announcement comes out. Very excited. All right, TJ Temple Garden into Island Pass. Jonathan's going to fire off Consider on TJ's instep. Put that Unholy Heat in the graveyard. Murktide was a draw for turn. I kind of missed what the draw was off of the Consider. Is there any Grixis Shadow? I don't think so. I think all of our Grixis Shadow players, we had a couple, but they've migrated off the deck towards... I know Damien's playing 4-color now, and he was playing Grixis Shadow. All right, Jonathan with the turn 2 Shredder. It resolves. TJ's going to fire off an Ice Fang Quaddle. It resolves. Subtlety. Wow, huge. Holding up Subtlety for that baby Teferi. That totally changes. I mean, you don't hold up Subtlety. It's free when you have a blue card. But that totally changes the pace of this game. Because instead of Teferi bouncing that Shredder, now Jonathan gets to untap and hold up his mana with this Shredder in play. Just a huge deal. Ice Fang not quite having Death Touch there. Can't block yet. I mean, it could block, but it won't trade. I think TJ has Verdict in hand, though. Maybe 2 Verdicts. Those might be a big deal in this match as well. Verdict's pretty tough for the for these Murktide decks. They put so much faith in a couple of creatures and, you know, trying to protect them. And a Verdict just says, try to protect it all you want. It's not going to happen. They're dead. All right, TJ tanking on the fetch here a little bit. TJ has 2 Verdicts, 2 EI, a Veil and a Ren 6, a land and a Yorion. Okay. So I think TJ just passed. Yeah, we're just going to Jonathan's turn. Land number 5 and an attack. A little interesting on the attack because all TJ has to do is fetch up a basic here in this trades. Okay, I guess Jonathan's okay with it trading. Or then consider the Death Touch that Ice Fang could have here. Or maybe just wanted his 5th card in the graveyard for a cheap Murktide here. Who knows? Although I think he has a Scalding Turn in play he could have done. Alright, it's just going to be a pass of the turn, and TJ's going to untap and cast an Expressive Iteration. See if that resolves. It's good. TJ's a little constricted on red mana. That was, you know, his only red mana to cast Ren this turn if he wanted to. Might have another one in hand. Yeah, Wooded Foothills, fetch. Yo, anyone else feel like Shadow of Doubt would kind of slap in this format? counterspell the Teferi. Keeping Teferi off the board is definitely where you want to be if you're Jonathan. Shadow of Doubt? Did I not say Shadow of Doubt? Or are you questioning me saying Shadow of Doubt? Or do you not know what Shadow of Doubt is? Oh, what's that? Boy, oh boy. That's Shadow of Doubt. Gotcha. Probably not anything better than Murktide's already playing, but just it's a card that could play. All right, Murktide Regent enters with 4 counters. Pretty big one out of Unholy Heat range. It's kind of the big deal. Play that in the sideboard for Merfolk? Yeah, maybe. I mean, it's good. Like, it's good against Urza Saga decks. It's good against Eladamri's Call and, you know, these Brennan 6 fetchland decks. Can be good against Titan when they go to search, yeah. For either, you know, Map, Saga, Pact, T-West, Titan, but could also just play Ashiok. Yeah, but Ashiok doesn't get him. Ashiok's like, oh, okay, that's in play. I have to play around it. I mean, it gets Saga. If they go to untap with Saga, fine. But and Ashiok doesn't draw you a card. All right. That Murktide is going to draw out one of the verdicts. TJ's still sitting on another one. Get him once, then you have a static effect. Yeah, I don't know. You can get him and then draw a card, man. I've not been impressed with Ashiok when I see people bringing it in for the not search effect. It's like, it's just very medium to me. It's fine if you care about graveyards, but I feel like there's also just way better stuff that care about graveyards. I haven't been a huge fan of Ashiok when I've seen it, but all right, Jonathan just slamming the subtlety to get a 3/3 in play. And another Murktide here with a pass. Now it's just a 3/3 Murktide apparently. All right, verdict number 2. Absolutely brutal here. Yeesh. Deals with subtlety and Murktide. Jonathan now has no board. TJ has a million cards in hand and a Ren and 6 going that Jonathan needs to answer. Play a tap lane, go. Ice Fang Quaddle on Jonathan's end step. Right. Attack with Ice Fang, take up Ren, million cards in hand, pass a turn. I think you played an Abundant Growth there too, missed that. Can't tell if Jonathan's at 16 or 18. I'm not sure what the die says. All right, fire off Archmage Charm to draw a couple cards and a Consider. So Jonathan definitely digging for threats here. TJ's just gonna flash in Solitude. Try to counterspell it, and that gets disputed. TJ now with a decent board and a Ren gets in for 4. Game 3. TJ. Fire off another iteration. The value never ends. Young Peasy 420, what's up? It's a great emote. Play a Baby Teferi off of the iteration, and Jonathan scoops it up. Can't answer the Baby Teferi, so any counter magic is just going to be useless in his hand. All right. TJ putting back 1, 2. Is it a model 5? Jeez. Putting back 2, model 5. It's tough, but the Blink deck is pretty good at undoing mulligans. All right, turn 1 Ragavan. TJ kept a Prismatic Ending. Oh, but Basic Mountain turn 1? That is tough. Hits a Wren. Is he gonna cast it? Could just fire off the Wren here. Honestly, he is. Oh my gosh. Gets back Misty. What's scary is he might have Spell Pierce here too, which is just so gross. Okay, has Bolt. Not gonna get Spell Pierce. Untap. Has his Wren in 6, man. This is gonna be a lot of value. Misty. Another island. Blood Moon? Question? Nope. Shredder. Play the Shredder. Don't do anything for the Connive trigger. TJ buys Yorion. Passes. Play the Misty. Only thing is Murktide doesn't have nearly as many fetchables as 4-color, but it does have a lot of them. So it'll be a while before that matters, but I think he probably has 3 more fetchables. Probably like 1 or 2 more Steam Vents and 1 more Island. If I had to guess. Most lists are playing 3 islands. All right, TJ just gonna scoop him up. Does not have answer for the Shredder and the Wren value, and you know Archmage's Charm just puts him up another card. So it's just tough match there. Bad start, man. If TJ had you know just turn 1 White Source for that Prismatic Ending, might have just had that game.